I'll be talking out loud for the video. So if no one's watching and I'm talking, you know why. Holly.
Yeah.
Wow, I got it. Okay, the best way to start is the size of your own fist. If you knew, were you here last class?
No, I had to leave early. I
Oh,
left
yeah,
early,
got it. So, when you just begin, learn to manipulate the speed of the wheel. So, find the fastest, and then the slowest. What is the slowest speed that you can maintain without the wheel to stop? And then what's the medium? Then, this is called a bat. We have some square ones. Most of the time they're circular, they're round. And this bat goes onto this bolt. It's possible to throw directly. Usually, you just throw directly here. If you have a large piece, then it's best to have a bat because you can just pick up the bat and carry the piece without distorting. Okay. So wet the bat so the clay sticks to non-porous material. Then you don't have to slam it, but if you do, it does help for clay to just get stuck. Now, there are three main stages: centering, opening, and pulling the cylinder. So, centering. There's several motions happening at the same time. You heighten your clay and press in towards the center. Then the pad of the inner palm keeps this top part of the clay from going out. And then your thumbs press clay down. Also, let's talk about posture a little bit. So, your hands, your forearms should rest on the skirt, or this is called the skirt, or the splash guard, or your legs. So they should be stationary. Then you should be able to apply the weight of your upper body. So you should be able to hunch over. So sometimes it helps to put the seat back. Okay, back to centering. You need to have enough water to create slip. If your hands hurt because the clay has grit or because your hands have friction here on the bat, you need to make sure you put slip on your hands, and it prevents your hands from hurting. Okay, scoop towards the center, press 45 degree and down. Remember, so scoop in towards the center. This is an action, this area is an action, and then the thumb. My forearms don't move, right? This clay is a little too firm. Okay, so it's not completely centered, but this is an example. So centered is when it's not wobbling back and forth, right? Now, when you're just starting, it helps to split this process. To push towards the center is one motion, and you create a cone. So you create a cone. Then you lean that cone with the palm, with the inner palm, with this pad, on the 45 degree angle, and you apply the weight of your body. It's sort of an invisible process, but you saw it. I went like this. I leaned it down, leaned it over. And then karate hand flattens the top. So that's how you can split it, and it's centered. Okay, so once again, this is like one motion, and it's centered. All three work together. You heighten the clay as if you're hiding it. The inner part of the palm is working right here. And then thumbs prevent clay from going up. Or to split it into steps, you make a cone. You just scoop, right? Then, but you have to be careful not to completely take this top off. Then you lean it with this part of your palm, lean it down under 45-degree angle. We're going full speed. And then karate hand. Now the goal is to create a perfect sort of looking hamburger bun, the top. Now there's a trick to how to clean the side. This is called rib. So, and there's a 90-degree angle here. You just put it towards the edge and clean up the side. Now, if you're a beginner, sometimes it's hard to keep all fingers like close together. So you can use the sponge and just slightly press and go in. And out. Holly, can you see, what does it say? Does it say stop recording there?
I don't see it.
It says stop recording, right?
No.
Does it say, you see what the cursor is?
Yeah. Yep.
It says stop, right? Don't, it means it's recording, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Just want to make sure. Okay, so that was step number 1. Remember 3 steps: centering, opening the hole, opening the clay, and then pulling the cylinder. Well, and step 4 you shape it. So step number 1 is done full speed. Then you slow to half speed. So half speed now, you slow down. Step number 2. First you make a hole straight down, but not all the way through because you need the bottom. So 1/4 of an inch is what you want the bottom to be, plus you need the foot, which you will trim later. So you need about half an inch at least. So there's several ways to do it. Either your thumbs go in, make sure that your forearm's stabilized. So either your thumbs go in, straight down. You're not pulling apart yet. Those are 2 different actions, straight down. Or you can use one hand and guide with the other hand and just go straight down. Now, how do you know how deep, how much clay you have there at the bottom? Needle tool, you poke it right in the center, and then your hand, with one of your fingers, your finger slides down, you register the bottom, and then don't move the needle tool and your fingers, so fixate both of them together and pull the needle tool out, and now that's how thick the bottom is. So that's good. If you're trimming the foot, now there's a hole there. We need to close that hole. So I just press lightly. Then every time you misplace clay, sort of, right? You need to compress it. So now clay being displaced here, you compress it. So I like to compare it to food, right? So hamburger bun turns into aioli. So aioli is like
It's like a donut.
it's a donut, but it's what is it? Bagel with just like a little hole, like a dimple. Yeah. Now, once you have this dimple, now you're making a bagel. So, and half speed. So from now on, you don't go full speed. Half speed from now on. And then once again, pulling apart, you can do with thumbs or one hand. In either way, what will happen is that clay will want to push your hands out. So you create a hook. So if you do it with your thumbs, you create a hook, and then you press down as you pull it apart. Make sure that there's water here. If clay is too dry, then it creates a drag. Or you can do it with one hand and just pull steady. Okay. So you displaced a lot of clay. Now you need to compress it. You need to compress the top and the bottom. If you don't compress the bottom, it will crack. I'll just speed up here so I can do it, get it over with. But so with your sponge, you go in and out. You can do it with your finger. With a sponge, it's like faster, I guess, and especially for the beginning throwing. Okay, and now we compress on the top. So you have a perfect donut now. Make sure that the sides here are straight, because if they're not, then as you pull the cylinder, as you pull the wall, if one side has more clay, your top will become uneven. But I'll show you how to treat it if it happens. Step number 3, you slow down to the slowest you can go, or maybe a little bit faster, but slower than a medium speed. Now, here's the idea. You're not just making a cylinder, you're making a truncated cone. As you spin, the centrifugal force wants to flare clay out. It's easier to flare it out than bring it back in. So you sort of guide and clay this way. Both hands work in tandem. On both sides of the wall, clay is in between. If you push too hard on this side and your other hand is in a different location, you will displace clay and it'll create like a divot here, and the other way. So you have to have both hands work on the same area of clay. The idea is that you scoop from the bottom and then pull onto this hand in a way, right? But you're making sure that both hands go like this at the same time. So for the beginners, usually want to do it faster, but you have to be patient and wait. So you scoop some clay and then let several rotations pass, 1, 2, and then keep moving your hands up, 1, 2, and then keep moving your hands up, 1, 2. Now you displaced clay again. So you compress. Compress with a sponge. The thinner the wall, the less force you apply when you compress. Okay, now again, I scoop from the side, 1, 2, and then move it up, 1, 2. If I let go, you see this bulge, right? What I'm doing, I'm moving this clay up. Make sure that there's no drag, right? Okay, so I'm gonna start where I left off. You can't really do all of the clay at the same time. You need to do a little at a time, otherwise something like that happens. Okay, so once again, if you have trouble, you can try the sponge. It's easier because larger surface area. So scoop, and this is where you slow down. When you pull in the cylinder, you slow down. And then compress lightly. Let's say that the top is uneven. What do you do? I want to make sure that the bottom is flat then. Okay, so let's say the top is uneven and you need to make it even. Needle tool, you can carve it off, but not all at once. Here's how it's done. Once the needle, find the lowest point, right? And then once the needle makes contact with clay, you just hold it there a little bit and then press a little at a time, and then it'll level the rim. And then compress just a little bit. Okay, so now how to change the shape. Before you start changing shape, you want to clean up and compress sides. You can do it with this rig. So now I have support from the outside and I just press from the inside and it cleans it all. This cleans it even better, but I'll show you after I change the shape. Okay, now changing the shape. You can press, let's say you want to go out. So you start from the bottom. You don't just make something stick out in the center. You go gradually like this. So pull, push from the inside, and support with your hand on the outside. If this is flaring out, you can bring it back in. So it's called coloring, choking the clay. Okay, let's say this is the shape, the form that I want. Also, I keep forgetting, oh, well, I'll show you the trick. Let's say I want to color it here and then make it a little out. Now, lips will be touching the rim, right? So you want it to be super smooth. You can use chamois cloth or a piece of plastic. This is the beginning of burnishing. You do that, and it's super smooth. Now you can trim some excess here. You can use this wooden feather knife or a needle tool. So this will be trimmed after this is leather hard. You turn it upside down and we'll trim the foot. But you can trim some clay now. So I insert the needle a little at a time. Then from the bottom. And now you are trimming it off the wheel. So the wire tool, you need to wrap it around your fingers so you have control, because clay would want to grab on it and it'll go like this. Push it down and then just pull it across like this while holding it down. If you try to pick it up with your wet hands, it might slip, so make your hands dry, pick it up from the bottom. If you're struggling, you can just take the whole bag. Okay, so I'll make a bowl real quick if you want to stick to that, but I will not be as descriptive as I was the first time. This clay is pretty firm. It's been sitting around for a while. So clay wants to push you around like this. It wants you to conform to its shape. So step one, I'm centering, the wheel is going fast. I have a larger lump of clay, so I'm sort of pulling towards me. And then down. Karate hand, I go in and out. I can trim some here. Still not quite complete. So you just do any of those processes several times, you know, and then so here I'm leveling the side. Now I'm leveling the top. Okay. It's not completely like perfect, but it's fine. When you're throwing a ball, the ball flares out more. You'll start flaring it out from the bottom, but you also need some clay at the bottom so the curve has a support. Okay, now I'm opening. Making sure I have enough depth there for the foot. Now I'm compressing. Well, you will switch to medium speed here. Compressing. If you don't compress clay, it will crack during firing. Or drying, or both. Okay, now opening it to the diameter, that approximate diameter that you want for the cylinder. Now you compress it again. Making a large donut now. It's not completely centered, so because it's not completely centered, the top will be a little uneven. It's important to start from sort of the better this donut looks in the beginning, the less you'll struggle. Okay, and now I slow down and make a cylinder. A little at a time. As you go up, the pressure is greater at the bottom, and then as you go up, the pressure is less and less. And then you compress. Do it again. You sort of guide the clay towards the center, not straight up. Compress. The wall for the bowl should be a little thicker than for the mug, because you will be increasing the surface area, so you will be stretching it. But you see how there's more clay here? I'll scoop some, but I need to leave some for the support of the curve. One last pull. Compressing the top. Now I will be establishing the curve of the bowl. So you can't start from top or middle. You have to start from the bottom. There are lots of ribs for that you can use. Well, so that's step number 3. So you slow down, and go slow and steady. So first this, you can open this later out how you want, but for now keep it going in a little bit. So it'll be like this, the curve will be like this, and then the very last thing you'll work on is the rim. If you feel the drag, then wet your hands, put some water on the wall, inner wall. Oh, before you completely shape it, you forgot to compress. So clean the outside wall. The inside will be able to clean. If you clean it with this rib, I need to warn you, if clay catches on it and it goes flying, don't try to grab it, you can cut your hand, so just let it fly and then stop the wheel and pick it up. This is good for straight. For curved, use the curved one and then curve it like this. And then you can clean the cylinder that way. Just a light pressure. You see how clean it is? Okay, so I'm continuing with the curve. There's a threshold when clay doesn't have enough support on the bottom here and it'll fall. So you need to do it up to that threshold. Does have questions? No. So once you open it to how you want it, or you feel like there is a threshold, you want to clean the inside here, compress. I'll open it more, but I do want to compress the inside because right now it's all weird. So there are some ribs, actually there's a good rib. They're flexible ribs. This is not as flexible, but so you start cleaning it from the inside, and then ribs have curves, so you can match that curve. So you compress and clean the bowl from the inside. So this will take some time. If you spin fast here, the bowl will flare out. So you can use the rib, the curve. It's almost there. I feel like maybe I can open it some more. Okay, well, let's say that's what I want. And make sure there's no water on the bottom. So you need to compress it, there, compress it, and then scoop some water out. Maybe I can push it a little more. Alright. I just don't like the very bottom here. So it's smooth enough. Now with the mug, it's important to clean. It's important to clean on both sides, but it's a lot of visible area is on the outside. With the bowl, a lot of visible area on the inside. The plate, right? Okay, and then trim the.
What do you use the plastic on the top for compressing it?
What?
We use the plastic around the top.
Yeah, to make it really smooth. Compress and make it really smooth, yeah. Okay, you ready to try?
No, I mean, I got to, I guess, but...
Well, I can do, the only way to start is start.
Okay, should I go over there and get a wheel and a bucket?
Yeah, bucket, and then do these tools. You need a needle tool, wooden fettling, a knife, a rib, and I have about 15 minutes so I can watch what you're doing.
Okay.